Hey guys, Ike here from IkesOutdoors.com. In today's video, I'm going to do a rundown of my 5 favorite bows of all time. Now before I run down this list, there's a couple things I want to say. First off, this is my opinion and my opinion only. These are the bows that are best suited to me, having a shorter draw length and wanting a little bit more speed out of a bow than your average guy who's got a 30-inch draw length or something like that. So I tend to go towards stuff that's got a little bit higher IBO speed, but tend to still have bad form issues, so I tend to try to stay around that 7-inch brace sight bows. So these are my favorite bows of all time. The other thing that you're going to look at is some of these bows on this list are 10, 12, 15 years old. And the reason for that is because simply they have held up over time. When they came out, they were cool, they were innovative, they were awesome bows, but they're the kind of bows that if I seen today and was able to pick up pretty cheap, I would pick them up and I would buy them and I'd go hunt with them and just be as happy as can be about them. So they're bows that have also held up over time real well, and we're going to put in some pictures of these bows here and maybe a rundown on the specs too if I can find them, but I'm not going to go over the specs. I'm just going to go over the list and why I like each one of these bows. So number 5 was a bow from around the 2009 era. This was a High Country Speed Pro, and the awesome thing about the Speed Pro was it was a very fast bow. It was very forgiving as far as brace sight goes. It had a 335, 340 IBO, I believe, but it also had a 7-inch brace sight. So it was a very fast bow, but it was also very forgiving as far as bad form. The other thing I loved about that bow was, and you're going to find this common theme here, was it had a 2-track binary cam system on it that was very, very tunable. It was easy to get that into to get it into its top position and get a lot of performance about it. The other thing that I really loved about that bow was it was really ahead of its time on the grip. The grip is, if you've seen it against a bow today, would be probably normal compared to a bow today, but for the time, it was ahead of the game because it had a unique feel to it and had a unique shape to it and was just a pleasure to just grip and hold and just really felt good in your hand. So that was the High Country Archery Speed Pro. For number 4 was and I've tossed them back and forth between the 82nd Airborne and the 101st Airborne, so 82nd / 101st Airborne. And what was so great about these bows was they were really long axle to axle, the 36, 37-inch range, and they had short brace sights. One had a 6-inch brace sight, and I believe the other one had a 7-inch brace sight. So you got a lot of stability out of these bows, and you still got a ton of speed out of these bows. So they're a great just pleasurable shooting bow. And again, they had a very good grip on them, not quite as good as the High Country, but still pretty good. And they had an awesome cam system on them. They had that Bowtech binary cam system on them from back in the day, which was a 2-track cam system, and just really, really tunable, and just one of those bows that was just fun to shoot and awesome looking at the same time. So number 3 on my list is the New Breed Genetics. The New Breed Genetics was just a bow that was designed for me, and I just, man, it just had the exact specs that I liked. It had a 7-inch brace sight on it, had a 33.5, 34-inch axle to axle or something like that. Draw length, or the draw cycle on it was just awesome. It was just fantastic. You could get that thing back and you could hold it forever, and it really shot great, just shot lights out for me. And again, that bow shot great for me because it was just the perfect size for me, and it had an awesome grip on it for the way I gripped the bow, and the brace sight on it was still very forgiving, and I was still getting a lot of really good speeds out of it, and still had just an awesome draw cycle. Man, when you had that thing back at full draw, it was like you were holding nothing. It was just so stable and just such a great bow to shoot. Just a real pleasure. So number 2 is the Hoyt Nitrum 34. And again, this had a great cam system on it. It had an awesome cable guide system on it that I can't remember what they called that, the ZT something cable slide system, but it had an awesome cable system on it. Good grip on it, just not an excellent grip, but a really good grip. But the thing that made that bow so good was, again, the specs on it were awesome. Just 34-inch axle to axle. When you got it back at full draw, you could hold it forever. And what I loved about this bow was you got above IBO speed ratings out of this thing. For me, when I set it up and tested it, I was getting 10 to 15 feet per second above their advertised IBO speed rating. So as far as performance go, that thing was outperforming everything that it was advertised to do. Looked great, felt great, shot awesome. Just one of my favorite bows to just go out and shoot. It's kind of, you can just go out and shoot all day long, and just a fantastic overall bow. So that was our number 2 bow, the Hoyt Nitram 34. And the 30-inch was an awesome bow too. I reviewed it, but once I shot the 34, man, the 34 was the bow that definitely was more fit to my style of shooting. So my number 1 bow overall is the Bowtech Invasion. And the reason that I picked the Invasion is because I, for a long time, loved the center pivots like the Guardian, the Captain, and the Sentinel, things like that from Bowtech. Loved the design, but they were just too slow. So when the Invasion came out, you got a center pivot bow, and you got the vibration dampening qualities of the center pivot. And if you'll notice, a lot of people now, since then, their limb pockets went from this to this. So it was really innovative as far as the limb pocket design and going to that center pivot design. And it really got rid of vibration and just made that bow so quiet. Such a pleasure to shoot. The grip on it was great, and what I really loved about it, and what I think was just one of the most innovative things that I've seen in the past 10 to 12 years, was the cam system on it. That overdrive binary cam system. You can literally take that overdrive binary cam system and shoot it through paper, put a few twists in it, and yoke tune that thing, and have your broadheads and your field points shooting almost pinpoint accuracy. So it's very, very tunable bow, very fast bow, just comfortable to shoot, and just had so many options, or so many innovative features of it at the time, that Bowtech has built upon to make the bows that they're putting out now. So to me, that's what made the Invasion the best bow, and what put it on top of this list was the innovations from it, and really that cam system and the center pivot design to it. So, and again, this is my opinion. Now, keep in mind, too, that I shoot a 27.5-inch draw length. I like to shoot 62, 63 pounds. So these are the bows that perform best for me. These are the bows that I get the most accuracy out of, and the bows that just are a pleasure for me to shoot. So you guys have asked me for this list for a long, long time, and I finally sit down and thought about it and put this list together. So those are the top 5 bows of all time that I have ever shot, and I keyword I have ever shot. So it may be completely different for you. And I don't want to start a big argument on here, but I'd love to hear your top 5 bows down in the comment section. So see where they differ from mine, because I think it's going to be different for every person out there. So once again, or run down it again. Number 5 was the High Country Archery Speed Pro. Number 4 was the 82nd Airborne, 101st Airborne by Bowtech. Number 3 was the New Breed Genetics. Number 2 was the Hoyt Nitram 34. And the number 1 bow for me was the Bowtech Invasion. So appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to check back, because I'm going to have a top 5 worst bows that I've ever shot list coming out too. And I think that one will get pretty interesting. So be sure to check back for that. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And be sure to follow us on Facebook under Ike's Outdoors. And be sure to check out the website, ikesoutdoors.com. Appreciate you guys watching.